Are you taking psychedelics? Well, then you're probably doing it all wrong. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name's Fola, and here on Deep Mind Squared, we talk all things bridging mental wellness and spirituality for nurses. If you are taking psychedelics, I'm just joking. You're not doing it wrong. This is really the conversation I wanted to have today. I think there's sometimes this heavy sort of judgment that comes up for people when they're wanting to step into the world of plant medicine or any form of psychedelic work. And that's that, hey, how do I go about doing this in a way that I'm actually going to see the results? And we get very result oriented. But this video is going to just share with you that there's no wrong way to do it, except for the fact that it's illegal in many places. So again, not promoting illicit activity. You just need to know that you need to do what's best for you. And this information in the video is really a harm reduction stance, so it's education only. And before we get into all that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're updated on any future video releases. I've got lots of different videos talking about psychedelics, microdosing, and all that good stuff, and how we can start to really promote healing and wellness for ourselves as nurses. For myself, plant medicines have been very healing in terms of looking at my past trauma and ways I like to go about living life, like old programs, and starting to make new changes and shifts in that programming. This has really opened my life in a different way. And obviously in the world situation, psychedelics, plant medicines are becoming more and more popular. And there's a lot of research showing how it can be beneficial for your mental health and your general wellness. So when we talk about this concept of doing psychedelics wrong, it's can we really do psychedelics wrong? It's hard when we come from this place now where within the modern world, psychedelics are becoming very clinical based, which, I understand the need for us to do experimentation and these proper clinical trials and really keep the controlled factors in place so that we know what is actually of benefit or not. I do feel though that when it comes to psychedelics or plant medicines, it doesn't matter how much or how little you take. Obviously don't overdo it, but just because I think that's a little nutso. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I just use that word even. But it's how do we go about ensuring that we can stull just connect to the plant? That's really what this is about, that no matter what comes up, there's a teaching. And that includes stuff that doesn't come up, because time and time again, I hear this from people who come looking for sessions, to do integration work in that. They're sharing how oh, I've done this thing and it wasn't the way I thought it would be, or I didn't get the same experience as my friend so-and-so, or whatever the case might be. And it comes down again to this fact that there is no right or wrong with psychedelics. It's exactly what it's meant to be for you. So you need to just remind yourself that, hey, I don't need to put this extra pressure and again, try to be perfect, because I think this is a huge part of our society. I hear it a lot from folks is oh, it didn't go the way I expected. And I'm guilty of this for sure. I don't even know how many times I've gone to sit and journey and ceremony with plants, and there's this intention going in, oh, I'm going to do it this certain way. And then for whatever reason, sometimes too, anxiety and fear plays a role into this. So we have to be mindful. But it's it doesn't go the way that I thought it would. And the last time I remember communing with the plant and realizing that this was the sort of mindset that I have quite often found myself entering in these types of altered states. Because again, I talk about psychedelics and plants, but this can be extended to any form of altered state practice, like meditation, mindfulness, breath work, other forms of healing and shamanic work. So many different things that can bring about altered states. And we in this Western society so easily jump to this conclusion that we need to do more or go more intensely into something or take a bigger dose or whatever. And this last journey I did, it really came up for me, this need for that perfectionism. And like, again, catching myself with, oh, you did it again, Fola. Like, you were going to do this much, but then you did this much. And like, why didn't you do what you said you would do? And like, but then really feeling into that, it came across as like, why are you being hard on yourself? Why can't you just be okay with what is? And there's something really beautiful about being able to just be with what is. And that we can come to this place of knowing that there is nothing wrong, that any plant or any form of like practice of altered state is going to take us to this place that we need to touch on, that's meant for us to touch on. So if you felt maybe disappointed in previous journeys or experiences, where you felt like you didn't do it the right way, really check in, where does that belief come from? Oftentimes, if it's like a group setting, because I know I've been in these sorts of situations where people are experiencing one thing and I'm like very nice, positive, like I touched God or like something like this. And then there's me like, oh, like that wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be like. And it's discouraging. So checking in, like, how come we think all of our experiences have to be the same? And what programs are we running that becomes our truth? How do we start to shift it? And know that there is no right or wrong. It's just exactly how it's meant to be for you in any given moment. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. Obviously, this doesn't negate the fact that you can take like different plants or psychedelics in conjunction with other things like medications, and those could have contraindications. Like that I would maybe say is not the best thing. So be smart. Educate yourself about these things. Don't listen to just like Joe Blow off the street or whatever based on what like one person tells you to do. Do your research, understand what you're getting into, and get the right supports in place for you as well. That's why I think a guide or some type of facilitator support during journeys can also be very beneficial, so that you're not going into it alone and that you also feel like you have that support and can work through things that are coming up. So if that is something that you're planning to do, again, this harm reduction stance is to get as much education, as much support as you possibly can before you embark on any journeys of your own. So I hope you found the information in this video helpful. Feel free to like and share this video with anyone you think might need to hear this message today. And I look forward to seeing you all in another video. Take care.